call the regular meeting of the Manitou Springs City Council to order. There's a lot of greeting going on, which is great, and I would ask that all of the council and staff please turn your microphones on. Hopefully we will avoid the feedback. Let's you and I try to share that one. Okay, maybe every other one we need or something like that, but hopefully we can get this to work.
That's all that good energy.
All that good energy. Well, welcome everybody. It's going to be challenging. This is the last meeting of the current city council, and we're delighted to be swearing in the new city council and new mayor this evening. So it's a wonderful evening. We'll go ahead with the roll call.
Mayor Duray.
Present.
Councillor Smith.
Present.
Councillor Elder.
Here.
Councillor Rourke.
Here.
Councillor Rollbrook.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Fortune.
Present.
Councillor Todd.
Here. Wonderful. Would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move council approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, raise your hand affirmatively. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. If we could figure out this.
I have it spelled out.
Okay, thanks.
I don't think all of them need to be on.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking. So maybe
Okay.
just turn most of them off
Let's try that. Turn
for
it.
now.
Turn those. Okay. Maybe that did it. Ah, perfect. Tell whoever was coming down they don't have to do that. So I think we're good. Public comment on non-agenda items. Typically, we offer a couple of minutes at the beginning of the meeting for someone who has a comment or a question for city. It's not on here. But you're right. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance instead of the pledge of dismissal. All right. Rick, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
No. I will.
You will, okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'll move into items, public comment on non-agenda items. As I said, we offer a couple of minutes. We typically don't have a lot of back and forth. If there are questions, we'll typically refer those to staff. Anybody would like to make a public comment on a non-agenda item? Okay, saying none, we'll move on. Yeah, we haven't had very many, and I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. But in any event, item F, consent calendar. We have 3 items on our consent calendar. One is approval of December 3rd, 2019 regular minutes, approval of December 10th, 2019 special minutes, and approval of December 17th, 2018 regular minutes. We're entertaining a motion concerning the consent calendar.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please vote by raising your hand affirmatively. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item G. Item G is second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 2519, an ordinance repealing and reenacting chapter 5.10 of the Manitou Springs Municipal Code concerning tobacco product licensing and repealing chapter 5.11 of the Manitou Springs Municipal Code. We've allocated 30 minutes for that. Hopefully, perhaps we won't need 30 minutes, but we will kind of check in with folks as we get closer to that time. Mr. Schultz.
My name is Aaron Schultz, project coordinator with the city, and I'm here to answer any questions you have regarding.
Did you make this have a microphone on?
It is.
It is.
Just a little far away.
Thank you.
And here to answer any questions the councilors may have regarding the ordinance. This is second reading, and we have made several recommendations as far as actions. And that is to remove 2 portions regarding a distance separation for youth populated areas and schools, as well as a second provision solely because we have not been able to identify properties, existing legally operating properties, that currently fit those standards.
Any questions concerning those two particular provisions from council?
I don't have any questions, but could I make a comment?
Yes?
That is, first I was very surprised to see all of the, that virtually everyone in our city is within that distance of a youth playground or whatever. So I don't want to address it tonight, but I would like to keep that on our screen for the future to look at that and ways to mitigate that impact. Because I do think there is an impact of having both alcohol and access to cigarettes so close to where youth congregate. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Schultz? I did have a question. It's either for Mr. Schultz or Mr. Parker, and that's concerning enforcement. There's been a little bit of confusion, at least in my mind, about how this ordinance might be enforced, and my understanding is that one of the reasons for doing this is to allow for local enforcement. When we had this discussion 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was some comment about whether the federal government would or would not impose these regulations, increase the age of tobacco. Somebody said, nah, they won't get to it for whatever. And the other said, well, they're going to get to it maybe soon. And sure enough, they got to it rather quickly. And so my question is, given that, and given the regulatory scheme that we are considering, what would be the enforcement? I've heard that perhaps we could call the state and they would come down and help us with that. And I've heard otherwise.
This is basically a municipal
Mr.
ordinance.
It is now.
All right. This would be a ordinance that would be enforced by the city itself. So the federal government raised the rate of age to buy tobacco products to 21. That's pretty much what the federal change was. The state has its own enforcement mechanism for state law, but we would be enforcing this via our own code enforcement police department. We couldn't call the state, and the state couldn't come and enforce our actual ordinance.
So they couldn't come down and conduct, it was presented that maybe they'd come down and conduct a sting, something
Well,
like
they may have independent authority to do that under state law, but they wouldn't be enforcing our own ordinance itself. So, like our licensing provisions, our licensing process, our particular regulations are all only enforced in Matthew Spring Municipal Court, and they'd be basically enforced by the police department, possibly code enforcement, depending on exactly what's involved.
And so other than local enforcement, which presumably would be challenging, I assume, for a municipality, how else does this help us with regard to the age issue of making sure that someone under 21 does not have access to these?
Well, it imposes certain requirements and certain things they have to do when you're operating a tobacco business, like a product business. But it's like any other law, you have to find a way to deal with enforcement. You have to make sure that you do a good, you have complaints. You could, typically in liquor, you have to do a underage fire, state type operations, but you also can have reported violations, observed violations, things like that. Other than that, it's just like any other licensing ordinance for a business in town.
Any other questions from Mr. Parker or Mr. Schultz? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak for, against, or otherwise?
Mayor, I didn't want to jump in Aaron's way, but there was a second revision that we had proposed for this as well.
Right.
And one kind of falls on the enforcement actually, which was that there's a reference to El Paso County actually helping with your underage fire sting operations, and they don't actually do that. So I have a recommended change I'm trying to get to here. It's in section 5.10.130.
Wait, hold on one second.
Yeah, no, it's on page 11 and 12.
I just need to. Okay, give me that section.
Yeah, 5.10.130, and it's basically section D3, which currently says that it's not a violation for an underage person trying to basically purchase tobacco product if they're doing it in coordination with like a sting operation. And subsection D3 should be revised from referencing El Paso County Department of Health and Environment. And my proposed language would be the underage operative.
Hold on, Mr. Parker. Do we have that proposed language somewhere in front of us for someone to be able to make a motion concerning that?
No, they can make the motion subject to what I would recommend it be changed to, because we only got the message today.
Okay, so let's do this. Why don't you go over it briefly,
Sure.
and then when it's time for a motion, if you could repeat that,
Absolutely.
and then we will have that in
Yeah,
the
so
record.
all I'm really doing is deleting the reference to El Paso County Department of Health and Environment and CDPHE, and just changing it to a governmental agency with authority to monitor compliance with local, state, or federal tobacco laws. And I can read you the exact language when it comes to it, but I just want to make sure you had the right reference to how that works.
If for some reason I bypass that, if you could remind me that we have that change. We do have the three changes that are noted in the memorandum. Removing section 5.10.050C, schools and youth populated areas. Removing section 5.10.050D, the tobacco product retailer operating lawfully on effective date section. And amending section 5 to change the effective date to February 5th, 2020, and allow tobacco product retailers to come into compliance by the deadline for renewal of their business license. And number 4 would be the comment that Mr. Parker just made. We'll go over those again when we have a motion. Okay. Mr. Schultz, anything else?
That was initially amended as far as coming into compliance with the renewal of a business license. In order to reduce regulatory burden, it would be renewed. Again, that license would be enacted when they renew their business license, as is currently the practice with the non-cigarette tobacco license. Again, to reduce regulatory burden both for the city and for businesses that would be required to come under compliance.
Great, thank you. Mr. Schultz, you don't happen to have, and I see Ms. Lewis in the audience, whether you might have conferred today at all to give us any feedback from the business community. There were a lot more operators here than I had envisioned. There are 9 on our list here. And I wondered if there is any additional feedback that we might get.
I will defer to Ms. Lewis. She has spoken with several businesses and can inform you more on what they have responded.
Great, and I believe I did open the public hearing, so we'll include that as part of the public comments. Ms. Lewis.
Leslie Lewis, Manitou Springs Chamber of Commerce. And actually, in talking to Mr. Schultz this afternoon, only 2 businesses are really significantly impacted. Most of them carry the non-cigarette tobacco license already. So the 2 businesses that do, I'm pretty sure one of them will just quit selling. And hopefully that gives them time to use up whatever inventory they have. The second one isn't happy about it. They don't carry it. When the non-cigarette tobacco license was put in place, they quit carrying that product. So they'll probably do away with their tobacco, would be my guess. So 2 businesses significantly impacted. The rest of them are impacted by $1.
Any other questions for Ms. Lewis? All right, thank you. Is there anybody from the audience, again, who would like to comment concerning this ordinance? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Council, any questions, comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion. Yes.
So
Let's go.
one of the concerns about this from the beginning was enforcement and just what burden it would put on our police department or code enforcement, and I thought that that wasn't going to be an issue because I thought it was going to be similar to the state program. Did we do any analysis on that at all, or is it that we have so few businesses that it's negligible?
Mr. Parker, Ms. Howell?
Legally, I did not do any analysis for you, so the legal side, I don't know what the burden is.
So from the other side, we have reached out to the state. I did follow up with the chief today. He's out of town. So as you know, we spoke with the state. They would be willing to do a state forest resort, and they would take that on. With the federal guidelines coming in.
Hold on, Ms. Howell. I'm hearing two different things. I'm hearing that, and that's what I heard this afternoon, is that the state would, but then I heard from Mr. Parker that
They
they
can
would.
do the difference.
Yeah, so I wasn't aware what the state had said about doing a sting, but I guess they are willing to assist in a sting. I didn't realize that. But ultimately, enforcement is still up to us to enforce it and bring a case in community court if there is a violation, or bring it under the license for revocation or suspension of the license. So there'd be some assistance from the state, now I understand, but we ultimately have to do our own municipal enforcement.
Okay, great. That answered your question.
I am not aware of some of this discussion, but it is also my understanding that the ability to process the license as well would be dependent on. That's another avenue for enforcement, is whether or not the license is renewable or revoked, and it would give us that enforcement tool.
Any other questions or comments from council? I had just a question or a comment. I'm not a big regulatory fan, and so I have concerns about this ordinance. Will likely support it, but with reservations. And the reason I have reservations is because I think the main thing that I wanted to support was increasing the age to 21, not necessarily put in a whole regulatory scheme to license, but apparently we have to do both if we want to have some enforcement and some structure, is my understanding. But the federal government, having recently raised the age, I was questioning in my own mind whether we should do this, and whether we did in fact accomplish what we wanted to accomplish through the federal government. And so I had some concerns about that. The other question that I would raise is I'm not a big fan of prohibition either. And so what I would hope that would happen is that we would continue our efforts to educate and help youth to make responsible choices. That just saying no for many people doesn't work. Saying no and why, and here's some information, and let me work with you, and so forth and so on, probably has a better likelihood of success. So I'm struggling with this for those two reasons. As I say, we'll likely support it because I appreciate the efforts that got into it. Mr. Schultz, I appreciate all of your efforts in putting this together. It doesn't sound like it affects very many businesses, which is good. A little bit concerned about our staff time. It sounds like much of the work has already been done. And so for that reason, I will likely support it, but with those reservations. Any other questions or comments from council? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 2519, an ordinance repealing and reenacting chapter 5.10 of the Manatee Springs Municipal Code concerning tobacco product licensing, and repealing chapter 5.11 of the Manatee Springs Municipal Code. Also to include the three items that Mr. Schultz presented to us, and the one item that our city attorney had also presented.
Mr. Parker, if you wouldn't mind just repeating that language so we have it in the record, please.
Yeah, for the record, so I think we're going to be deleting section 5.10.050 subsection C and D, which is the location restriction. And we're modifying section 5.10.130D3 to read the underage operative participating in an inspection funded in part either directly or indirectly through subcontracting by a governmental agency with authority to monitor compliance with local, state, or federal tobacco laws.
Amend section.
And amend section 5.
Which is the effective date, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be to take effect on February 5, 2019.
2020.
20, you're right. Time
And
flies, yeah.
And allowing tobacco product retailers to come into compliance by the deadline for the renewal of the business license. Mr. Smith, is that the intention of your motion to incorporate those changes?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, please raise your hand affirmatively. Opposed? Motion passes 5-2. All right. Next item of business. Call item H, new business, which is appointment of Manitou Springs Municipal Judge and the oath of office. And we are delighted to have Deborah Island join us. Come around here and administer the oath. Sure. Silent? I don't know where to stand. I guess here. Okay, are you ready? I, Deborah Island.
I, Deborah Island.
Raise your hand.
It always seems to be more.
There you go. Maybe so. All right. I, Deborah Island,
I, Deborah Island,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of Municipal Court Judge,
of the office of Municipal Court Judge,
upon which I am about to enter,
upon which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Ms. Island, congratulations. So I've had the pleasure of working with Judge Island for a number of years now, and we are really fortunate to have had her services as our prosecutor and now have her services as our judge. So thank you very much. I have a little token of our appreciation, which is a Manitou Springs pin, which we give to those who make a difference in our community. You have, and you will continue to do so. So thank you. Thank you. Judge Island, would you like to make any comments?
Yes, sir, briefly.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, members of council, for inviting me here this evening and giving me this tremendous honor. I am so honored and grateful for your faith and your trust in me. And I promise you and all the residents of the city of Manitou Springs that I will do the very best I can to uphold our laws and to be fair and impartial for all the cases in front of me as the judge for our city. So thank you so much. I also have a number of friends and family here this evening, and I want to thank you for being here with me and supporting me. Everything I do and everything I've accomplished in my life is because I am very, very fortunate. One of the fortunate people who have friends and family who provide support and love and help and guidance, and I am eternally grateful. We don't get anywhere in our world without those people, and so I'm very lucky. I have many of them, and I thank all of you for being here. I just finally want to close by saying Manitou is dear and near to my heart. I went to elementary school here through the second grade in that building up on the hill. And
You dropped out in second grade.
She went right to law school.
I know everything I need to know, didn't I? I reference that only because this was recently, I saw this. There's an NFL football player that when at the beginning of games, they go through the roster of the defense and the offense, and when he comes up, and they announce the school they went to, and they all announce the college or the university they went to with this great puffed up chest and huge pride, and that's wonderful. But this one player says, he gives his name, I can't think of it now, and he says his school, Farnham Elementary. And I love this because, you know, where we begin when we're little is what makes us who we are when we grow up.
And I know that starting here had a great deal to do with who I am. And I'm just so honored and thrilled to be back here and to be able to help this city as I have as prosecutor, which I enjoy tremendously, and now as your judge, that you've honored me with that role. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. Thank you for coming tonight. And Mr. Mayor and members of council, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. The final item on our agenda for this council is any comments that members from council may want to make. Mayor Pro Tem Fortune.
Please don't call me Miss Fortune.
I should have learned that.
Yes. Okay, and forgive me, I'm going to read most of my comments since I seem to be challenged by speaking extemporaneously. So I'd like to address my fellow councilors who have finished their terms of service. And so to Becky, Jane, Gary, I want to start by acknowledging you for the way you welcomed me when I was first appointed 2 years ago. You never made me feel like the new kid on the block, but instead you immediately made me feel that my input and participation was heard, valued, and respected. I want you to know how much that meant to me, and that's a lesson I will carry forward as we welcome our 4 new members tonight. I also want you to know how impressed I was with the diversity, expertise, and backgrounds of the 7 of us. It was definitely an example of the sum of the whole being greater than the addition of the parts. I took your comments to heart during our discussions and deliberations, and they definitely informed how I voted on issues. As a result, you helped me become a better counselor. It takes a lot of hard work being on council, and that's coupled by the responsibility we have in making really important decisions that affect not only the community as a whole, but sometimes some individuals who feel the impact of our decisions more than other individuals do. That's particularly difficult when a negative impact is felt by a friend or neighbor, but the reverse is true as well. The rewards are huge when you can feel you did something good for the community or for an individual in your community. So I want to personally thank each of you for stepping up to the challenge of being on council. You've made a difference for our community. I'd also like to acknowledge our outgoing mayor. I've had the honor and privilege of working as closely with him as anyone over the past 2 years. I've had a front seat to seeing the challenges that come with being the mayor of a small but passionate city with limited resources. I have seen and learned so much from Ken as he met challenges head on, and I know our city is better off because of his vision and steadfast hard work to realize so much of that vision come to fruition in a mere 2 years, especially during a time of so much change and turbulence. Of particular note was watching him display such courage as he followed his moral compass during times of particular turbulence. And I always admired how he seemed to intuitively know how to maneuver through particularly complex issues and how he could communicate those issues in terms that made it easier for all of us to understand. And I was impressed with how he ran meetings and made it look easy while showing such respect for everyone in the room while still keeping us on track. He's been so action-oriented, something that may not have been readily apparent, but is obvious to anyone who has had to work within the confines of government bureaucracy. He pushed as hard or harder than most anyone would have to get as much done in 2 years as possible. I want to thank Ken for asking me to run for council, something I would not have done had he not asked. One thing you don't know is that he promised me that if I ran, he would commit to 2 terms. Unfortunately, and for good reason, he didn't end up doing that. So tonight, I want to publicly and officially release him from that promise, as I have such confidence in our incoming mayor and council members. So I want to thank Ken for mentoring me and for his dedication and service to our community. Lastly, most of us here tonight are citizens and residents of Manitou Springs. As we all know, with citizenship comes some level of responsibility. I would encourage each of you to consider how you are fulfilling that responsibility, because I can assure you when it comes my time to leave council, I'm going to come around asking you to step up. So thank you, Becky, Jay, Gary, and Ken. I look forward to our continued association as you have all proven yourselves to be more than able public servants. But in the meantime, please enjoy all the free time you now will have. And lastly, welcome to our new class of counselors. I look forward to working with you as individuals and as a council as a whole as we continue to build on the groundwork laid by previous councils. Thank you all.
Thank you. Anyone else from council? Yes.
It'll be a recurring theme. Hope you don't get bored. I thank my wife Karen for putting up with being a Tuesday night widow the last 4 years. I also thank my neighbors, for surely in a town this small we're all neighbors, who elected me to serve. It's been an honor, a pleasure, and the most amazing civics lesson ever. I'm taking this time to ask my neighbors to stand for election. When the next election happens, it will have been 6 years since council members were truly elected. This trend is not good for our town. There's little incentive to do the right thing when you can just walk onto council. For those new to council and those continuing, I ask that you be thoughtful in your decisions with an eye toward long-term sustainable policies that take into account all of town, but especially those in the minority when they need your voice the most. Enjoy.
I just want to say that 8 years on council, it's been a long time. And when I first thought I'd do this, I don't know what I was thinking at that point, but after being here, I think that I have helped. I hope I have helped, but I know that at this point I've made another 6 friends. So even though on Tuesday nights we didn't really every time agree on everything, but when we walked out of here, we walked out of here as friends. So I can say that's one thing that brought things forward for me. Also, I want to welcome the new council because I think you guys have some challenges ahead of you, and I think it's going to be a good working organization. So welcome you, and I'm not sure, Jay, if my wife wants me at home on Tuesday nights. She's gotten used to that. So.
You might have to volunteer on something else.
I'm good. Thanks.
Just a footnote to Gary's comments. This is why Gary is now on the school board. What night is that?
Monday.
A slightly informal comment. I would like to share the following, which is when this council convened 2 years ago, we had an outside assessment done of Manitou Springs City government. The outside assessment was done by the former long-term member of Breckenridge. His name is Tim Gagan. Very few of you came to our early meetings, but at one of those early meetings, it took him 48 hours. He came back and gave us SWOT analysis. His bottom line was very simple. His bottom line was, you have a city of enormous compassion. You have a city staff of enormous dedication. Your challenge is you're still going through your adolescent period. This became a challenge or a mantra for our council, in my opinion. This group has worked the hardest of any group I have known as a volunteer group to take this city through a period of adolescence and establish a foundation for, if you would, high school seniors moving now out into the world. I'm very thankful for this group and that hard effort. I'm also looking forward to our incoming council because I see within it a diversity that represents the diversity of our community. And it's the diversity of our community that I believe will continue to keep Manitou Springs the unique heart and soul family that we are. So thank you all for coming on board.
Okay.
I'll just keep this short and sweet. It's been a real honor to be here with all you guys. And I'm probably the most unlikely council person, but I did reach my goals as a voice for nature, and that's what I came on for. And I think we did a good job.
read the packet and it says it's an opportunity for outgoing and incoming council members to speak. So I'm going to save the time then.
Oh, did you say you did or didn't?
I read it.
Oh,
I'm following the instructions. No, I said it wrong.
okay.
So thank you, Ken.
Okay, good. You know, as a trial lawyer, I was always taught if you're going to make a closing statement, you need to stand up. You don't sit down for closing statements. And I also have a couple of things that I need to do up here. So I'm going to come over here. See if I can not drop this stuff. Okay. Thank you. First of all, I really want to go back, or really want to start with thanking my wife Sandy, who here she is. It's probably the hardest part for me, but I am so very grateful for 40 years of marriage, 40 years of support. When times are good, when times are tough. And Sandy has just made all the difference in the world for me, to be able to have someone to listen, care, to guide me, and it's really been, I'm very, very grateful. So I think I'll do better once I get through this part. But thank you so much. I'm looking forward to our new chapter in our lives. It's not often that you get to turn the page, start, hopefully, not hopefully, but start with kind of a blank page, and we will create it together. So thank you so much. I also want to thank and acknowledge the hard work of my colleagues, Gary, and Bob, and Nancy, and Becky, and Susan, and Jay. We've worked hard. We've not always necessarily agreed on everything, but I am really delighted that when we've come together, we've been able to do so respectfully. We've had great conversation, and I really, really appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you in that regard. So I thank you very much. I want to particularly thank Mayor Pro Tem Fortune. We have worked together very closely, and I am very grateful. I don't think I could have done this job as well as without Nancy. We balanced each other. We had different thoughts. We had different approaches. But it was absolutely wonderful to have a thought partner who was available, who was willing to communicate and offer her suggestions and her thoughts. And I appreciate being let out of the next 2-year commitment. That was a very difficult decision for me, in large part because of my commitment and my comment that I had made wanting to do this, or considering to do this for 4 years. But I think it was the right decision for me, and I think it was the right decision for the community. But we could not have done what we did without Nancy's help, without the whole council's help, and I really am very grateful for that. I also want to thank briefly the Women's Club. Sally and Kelsey, I don't know if Tracy, Kelsey, some of the other members of the Women's Club, 2 years ago I asked them if they would help us with refreshments at our council meeting. To me, it was important that we break bread together, that we have a break, we come together, we share some food, and the Women's Club stepped up to do that for us every other week. So I am very, very grateful for you to do that. So thank you. Very much appreciated. You know, without having a city administrator for 18 months, it's been pretty difficult, and particularly on staff. And there's one staff member I would like to single out. She's not here tonight, but that's Rebecca Davis. And it's difficult because Rebecca's going through some tough times. And I think it would be wonderful for us as a community to come together and send her our thoughts and prayers for her and her family. It is a tough time for her, but she's been steadfast. She has been here. She's been so loyal. And I went to thank her today. Unfortunately, she wasn't here today, but I wanted to acknowledge her publicly for everything that she's done for the city. Couldn't have imagined that we would have, in 18 months, basically rebuilt the leadership of our city. We have a new city administrator, a new deputy city administrator, a new police chief, a new city clerk, a new public service director, a new deputy public service director, a new city engineer, and now a new municipal judge. We had a new planning director. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, and so we're looking for a new one, but shortly we will have a new planning director as well. Couldn't have imagined that that would have happened 2 years ago. It really was remarkable. I want to particularly thank those people that I just listed, Denise and Roy, Chief Churchill, Judy, Jeff, Rich, and Judge Island for helping to guide our city forward. I know that we are in great hands with all of their help. I also wanted to mention a couple of the younger staff members that haven't been here as much. Megan and Aaron, Dylan and Amber have brought life and enthusiasm to our staff and our team. I've had the pleasure of working with them all, and it has been great. And I just wanted to acknowledge how much you all bring to the team. There he is. It really is wonderful to have your enthusiasm, your energy in this team. I'm delighted to report that our city staff, I believe, is absolutely customer-oriented. They're looking for creative ways to build a sense of trust and collaboration with our community. I am very, very confident that our community is in good hands. Our government is in good hands. When I was first elected November 17th, I had no idea about some of the issues that we'd have to deal with. People asked me, are you ready for this job? I said, oh yeah, no big deal. I kind of have a sense of this, been around for a long time. I didn't have a clue that we would first and foremost deal with the Park Avenue Bridge. That didn't work. We'd have hail and floods. We'd have the collapse and closure of Manitou Avenue. We'd have the car railway that said, you know, we may not open again. And we had to search for 18 months for a new city administrator. Remarkable. In spite of all that, we were able to keep the city running, but as importantly, we were able to start some wonderful initiatives to move the city forward. I did put out a 2019 year in review. There are some copies here. It was published online, and I think it's coming out in the paper this week. But it highlights some of the things that we were able to work on. One is really work on a robust community engagement process. It's not perfect, but what it does is it allowing individuals who want to participate, who want to have a say, to have a seat at the table. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have a robust process, a framework that can help us move forward. We have a comprehensive climate action plan and a tree planting program. Very, very proud of the fact that this community is going to be a leader in that area. I have challenged my colleagues, the other mayors around the region, to join us, and I think that they will. I think it's partly because we are demonstrating it can be done, it should be done, and I am hopeful that they will follow our lead as well. We have a mobility study, a comprehensive mobility study that's about to be presented to council next month. We have Ruxton and Manitou Avenue improvements. We have water and sewer improvements, infrastructure improvements. We have the Match Initiative, and so much more. A lot of this could not have been done without the dedication of volunteers and the community members who come out week after week to do this work, board and commission members, the people who just show up for our community meetings. It's what makes our government run, and it's what makes our community great. It's been a real pleasure for me to get to know some new people and to work with the ones that I've worked with for the past 40 years. It really has been an honor. I have some parting gifts and some comments for our new council. First and foremost, I mentioned that we have these pins for those folks that make a difference in our community. You all, by stepping up to run for office, obviously have and will continue to do that. So, Mr. Mayor, well, not quite yet. Mr. Graham. Some pins for you. I also have some extra pins, and I encourage the City Council to use these pins to acknowledge those that help our community be better, that participate. So I'm starting you off with a stack of them of what's left. And I think we've given out probably over several hundred of these pins over the last couple of years. I also have, someone gave this to me, and I was delighted to have it, but I think it's appropriate to pass it along. And this is the visions for our community. All 10 of them spelled out. And I believe it's a role that the mayor and the city council should play, is to be the holder and the keeper of these visions. And so, John, I'm going to pass this along to you. You can put that on your desk or wherever to remind you. It's also in the city council chambers to remind you that those are the visions that guide us over the years. Finally, it really has been an honor and a privilege. I could not have imagined what would be involved in being mayor, but it's been great. To be able to give back just a little bit to your community is very heartwarming. So thank you all. Thank you, council. Thank you, staff. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the street in a different way. Okay, the next order of business is the swearing in of the new mayor and city council.
Okay, we're gonna do this in order. So our first, if I can ask Judith Chandler up. And if you'd like to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Judith Chandler,
I, Judith Chandler,
do affirm
do affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of counselor
of the office of counselor,
upon which I am about to enter,
about which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
This one's for you. So if I can Okay, our next is John Shada. Thank you. I, John Shada,
I, John Shada,
do affirm
do affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully
will faithfully
perform the duties
perform the duties
of the office of counselor
of the office of counselor,
upon which I am about to enter,
of which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Okay, and our next is Julie Wolf. Raise your right hand, please. Thank you. I, Julie Wolf,
I, Julie Wolf,
do affirm
do affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform
and will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of counselor
the duties of the office of counselor
upon which I am about to enter,
upon which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
John Graham. I, John Graham,
I, John Graham,
do affirm
do affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of mayor
of the office of mayor
upon which I am about to enter,
upon which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So now we're going to switch.
We are, so I will give this broken gavel over to Tom. And be careful with it. We are going to have some refreshments after the second half of this meeting. So hang in there. We've got some great food and drink. And John, congratulations. And there you go.
I'd like to go ahead and get started with the second part of the meeting. And the sooner we get finished with the second part, the sooner we get to the questions. I will now call the second portion of the meeting together as we have seated the newly installed City Council. We need to begin with a roll call. City Clerk's office, please call the roll.
Sorry.
Mayor Graham.
Present.
Councilor Chandler.
Present.
Councilor Shada. Councilor Wolf. Councilor Wolbrook. Councilor Fortune.
Present.
Councilor Todd.
Well, it came to work. That's a good start. Okay. Our first four items of business are resolutions to acknowledge and thank the efforts and the contributions of the retiring city council members. If it's okay with city council, but with council members, I would like to go ahead and read the resolution in full after we do the votes. That would be okay. I'd like to present the resolution at the podium with the recipient in each case. So we have four of those. If that's all right, then our first item of business will be resolution number 0120, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Becky Elder.
I move we adopt that resolution, number 0120, resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Becky Elder. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote with show of hands, affirmative votes. Say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. So I'll go to the podium for the presentation. Councilor Elder, come forward, please. Resolution number 0120, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Becky Elder. Whereas, while serving as a member of City Council from March 10, 2015 through January 7, 2020, Becky Elder served as a liaison to the city's administration, aquatics, judicial, and planning departments. And whereas, over the years, Councilor Elder has also served as the city's representative or alternate representative to the Open Space Committee, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Parking Authority Board, Housing Advisory Board, Manitou Springs Arts Council, and whereas other notable highlights of Councilman Elder's time in office has been her steadfast advocacy for combating climate change and her determination to ensure that Manitou Springs be a model for environmental protection. She brought her extensive knowledge of caring for trees, water, and animals to bear as she ensured that every council action incorporates sustainability considerations. Councilor Elder's long-term and intimate knowledge of our city, its people and culture, gave her a unique perspective, invaluable to the city's council's deliberations, as she identified issues essential to preserving the overall health of our city, now and in the future. Nowhere was this more apparent than in her desire to balance the economies of tourism with the impacts that increased tourism has on our city's culture and quality of life. Councilor Elder's wisdom and leadership will long be respected by her fellow councilors and her constituents alike. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, that on behalf of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, we do hereby acknowledge Becky Elder for her service to the people of the City of Manitou Springs, and we offer this resolution as an expression of our appreciation for all that she has done. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption by City Council. I think we also have something here.
That looks pretty sustainable.
So this is again, it's a nice thing. This is a handmade Mark Wong plate. We have the historic Manitou Springs logo on here. To thank you, Becky Elder, Councilwoman, 2015 to 2020. It's all right. I'll call the second item of business from up here. Next item of business is resolution number 0220, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Jay Rohr.
I move we adopt resolution 0220, resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Jay Rohr.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? No? All vote affirmatively by raising hands. Unanimous? Okay, motion passes. Mr. Rohr, can you step forward? Resolution number 0220, resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation for Councilor Jay Rohr. Whereas while serving as a member of City Council from January 5th, 2016 through January 7th, 2020, Jay Rohr served as the city's representative or alternate representative to the Business Improvement District, Chamber of Commerce Board, Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments, Pikes Peak Regional Transportation Authority, I-Manitou Board, Manitou Springs Arts Council, Manitou Springs Creative Arts District, Partners for Healthy Choices, Restorative Justice Council, Urban Renewal Authority Board, and Incline Management Committee. And whereas, in addition to studying council materials and doing independent research on issues facing the community, Councilor Jay Rohr was able to bring to bear his extensive and firsthand knowledge of business and tourism to council deliberations. Additionally, his expertise on highly technical issues was invaluable to council discussions. Councilor Rohr's skill at condensing highly complicated issues into more easily understood terms was appreciated and admired by all of council, as was his diligent work to understand and communicate how a decision would impact the city as a whole. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, that on behalf of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, we hereby acknowledge Jay Rohr for his service to the people of the City of Manitou Springs, and we offer this resolution as an expression of our appreciation for all he has done. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption by City Council. Thank you. Let's see what we have here. Again, another handmade Mark Wong plate there. Thank you very much. Next item of business is resolution number 0320, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Gary L. Smith. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve resolution number 0320, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Gary Smith.
Second that.
All vote affirmatively raising your hand. Passes unanimously. Gary, come forward, please. I don't mind. Not much. Resolution number 0320, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Councilor Gary L. Smith. Whereas while serving as a member of City Council from January 3, 2012 through January 7, 2020, Gary L. Smith served as a liaison to the city's Finance Department, Fire Department, and Public Services Department. And whereas over the years, Councilor Smith also served as the city's representative or alternate representative to the Partners for Healthy Choices, Volunteer Fire Department Pension Board, and El Paso Emergency Services Authority. And whereas other notable highlights of Councilor Smith's time in office was his singular and steadfast resistance to retail marijuana by being the only councilor to vote against it, and in so doing represented a significant number of concerned constituents. However, he respected the vote of our citizens and turned his energy towards mitigating negative impacts by helping ensure our youth were educated by funding initiatives such as the award-winning Partnership for a Healthy Choice. He also initiated joint meetings between the school board and city council in order to establish a broad community approach to working with our youth and the challenges they face. Councilor Smith's familiarity with public works and our fire department proved invaluable and influential as council made decisions to purchase new fire trucks and other needed equipment. Additionally, his experience as a one-time Manitou Springs employee as well as a current Colorado Springs Utilities employee made him uniquely qualified to advocate for a reorganization of our city staff, hiring new city leadership, and completing a salary study. Of particular note is that not only did he advocate for these changes, but he was also instrumental in implementing them during his tenure on council. Lastly, Councilor Smith always questioned financial decisions and expenditures as he took being a good steward of the city's funds as one of his overarching guiding principles. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, that on behalf of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, we do hereby acknowledge Gary L. Smith for his service to the people of the City of Manitou Springs, and we offer this resolution as an expression of our appreciation for all that he has done. This resolution should be effective immediately upon adoption by the City Council. Congratulations. Next item is resolution number 0420, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Mayor Ken Jure.
I move we approve resolution number 0420, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation of Mayor Ken Jure.
Second that. Motion is second.
Discussion.
Discussion? There being no discussion, call for vote. All in favor? Affirmative votes unanimous. Okay. Mayor Jure. While serving as a member of resolution number 0420, a resolution of acknowledgement and appreciation for Mayor Ken Jure. Whereas, while serving as a member of City Council from January 2, 2018 through January 7, 2020, when he was sworn in as mayor, Ken Jure served as a liaison to the city's police department and volunteer fire department pension board. And whereas over the years, Mayor Jure also served as the city's representative or alternate representative to the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments and Pikes Peak Regional Transportation Authority Board of Directors. And whereas Mayor Jure's time in office is notable for his many accomplishments and contributions to the city. Of particular note is that he helped restore a culture of engagement and partnership between city government and our community. And by doing so, he was able to redistribute power and influence back to the citizens while still retaining and respecting council's and staff's role in the decision-making process. Mayor Jure provided the leadership needed to finally create and adopt a robust climate action plan, and he helped harness community action to start an annual tree planting program. While Mayor Jure governed through a time of tremendous personnel and operational turbulence, he recognized it as an opportunity to help develop a strong and committed administrative team and city staff. There now exists a solid foundation. It is apparent that the city is taking advantage by quickly building on that foundation. For example, our city has struggled with one of the most basic services any city provides to its residents. But now under Mayor Jaray's governance, long-term water and sewer infrastructure improvements were approved and funded. Additionally, quality of life has been severely affected by increased numbers of people and cars coming into our city, which Mayor Jaray addressed by providing leadership and regional collaboration to create and fund a comprehensive mobility study and action plan. Mayor Jaray's time in Manitou Springs has always been marked by community leadership and service. We look to him to continue that leadership and service well into the future as Manitou Springs is dependent on citizens such as him to achieve its potential. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, that on behalf of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, we do hereby acknowledge Ken Jaray for his service to the people of the City of Manitou Springs, and we offer this resolution as an expression of our appreciation for all that he has done. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption by City Council. No plate. For Ken, we have something a little different. This is it's a little sign. It's a golf club. Let me read it to you. There's a picture of a tree. Quote, "He who plants a tree plants a hope." Louis Larkin. In honor of Mayor Ken Jaray for his dedication to creating a sustainable future for the City of Manitou Springs, January 2018, January 2020. And it's my understanding the recommendation is that this be placed back in Mansions Park next to one of Ken's favorite trees. I think that'd be really appropriate.
Great, thank you, John. One comment as a lawyer, you get a rebuttal, but what I really want to do is I want to acknowledge Jeff Parker. I forgot to do that. And I don't know if it was a good or bad thing to have a former city attorney as your mayor looking over your shoulder, but I can honestly say Jeff was a true professional. He was always responsive. He was a great partner over the past 2 years. So Jeff, thank you very much.
Our next item of business, Resolution 0520, a resolution establishing the locations for the posting of notices for the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado. City Clerk Jenny Morgan.
Okay, so this is a standard annual thing we do. There has been a change recently to state law that mandates that we make the primary location our website. So this reflects that.
Council, do we have a motion?
What is the motion for?
I'm sorry. Motion to approve.
To approve that the website is the primary? Is that what we're voting on? Should we?
Shall I read?
To approve the resolution.
I don't have the resolution, I'm sorry.
Could you read the resolution, please?
Okay, so.
And use your mic, Judy.
I got it on here. Okay, so the resolution reads, it's a resolution establishing the locations for the posting of notices for the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado. Whereas Colorado Revised Statute Section 246401 declares that it is the policy of the state of Colorado that the formation of public policy is public business and may not be conducted in secret. And whereas the meetings of the City Council and its appointed bodies within the meaning of CRS 246402 2C are open to the public. And whereas CRS section 246402 2C requires that any meetings at which the adoption of any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action occurs shall be held only after full and timely notice to the public has been provided. And whereas CRS section 246402 2C requires that the posting notice includes specific agenda information where possible, And whereas CRS Section 24.6.4012C requires that the public place for posting such notice shall be designated annually at the first regular meeting of each calendar year of the City Council. And whereas the City Council desires to ensure that all local public body meetings comply with the provisions of the laws of the state of Colorado. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, that Section 1, the city website, which is www.manitou.springs.gov.com, is to be the official posting place for all meeting notices. Section 2, where possible, the bulletin board at Manitou Springs City Hall, which is at 606 Manitou Avenue, Manitou Springs, Colorado, in the window adjacent to the front door may be used in addition. And Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon approval and adoption by City Council. Introduced, read, and adopted at the meeting of the City Council of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado on the 7th day of January 2020.
Thank you.
Council, do we have a motion?
I'll move that we adopt Resolution 0520, a resolution establishing locations for the posting of notices for the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado.
Motion is second. Do we have any discussion?
Just a brief comment, if I may, which is as follows. Previously, we were using also a bulletin board near the Wichita lot to post these items. Not saying it needs to be part of the resolution, but is the intention to still have that sub-posting site live?
Yes, we are going to still post there, but it's not mandated. So we do have the 2 locations, which is what is required.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan.
Oh, but then that, I'm sorry, that lends me to a question.
Go ahead.
So if we're required to have a minimum of 2 locations, does it really comply to say where possible we'll use the second location and otherwise we won't?
It's mandated that we have the 1 location on our website.
Oh,
So
we're not.
we've added the second, and we will continue to post at the Wichita location as well, whenever possible. The only time we have problems with that is if the weather doesn't permit.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Being no further discussion, let's vote. Affirmative vote, raise your right hand. Okay. Looks like it passed. Any no votes? Raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Okay, next item. Resolution number 0620, a resolution appointing council members as liaisons to the various boards, commissions, committees, agencies, and organizations. So this is done every year. And we assign city council people to have liaison positions with various city boards. Judy, would you like to just give us the rundown on who's signed up for what? What liaison positions will be represented by which individuals?
Okay. I'll go ahead and read from the resolution, which it lists. So under departments, department liaisons, all of those would be John Graham, Mayor. City boards and commissions, we have the Historic Preservation Commission, we have John Shada, Councilor. Open Space Advisory Committee, Judith Chandler, Councilor. Park and Recreation Advisory Board, Nancy Fortune, Mayor Pro Tem. Transportation and Parking Board, Susan Wolbrook, Councilor. Planning Commission, Julie Wolf, Councilor. Housing Advisory Board, Nancy Fortune, Mayor Pro Tem. Firemen's Pension Fund Board of Trustees, Judith Chandler, Councilor. A side note on that is the mayor and city administrator also serve pursuant to our city code. Other city organizations, we have the Business Improvement District, Denise Howell, city administrator. Chamber of Commerce Board is Denise Howell, city administrator. Fountain Creek Watershed Flood Control and Greenway District, Nancy Fortune, Mayor Pro Tem. Manitou Springs Art Council, Denise Howell, city administrator. Manitou Springs Creative Arts District, Denise Howell, City Administrator. Metropolitan Parking District Board, Susan Wolbrook, Counselor. Mineral Springs Foundation, John Sheda, Counselor. Partners for Healthy Choices, Tiana Pauley, Pool Director. Urban Renewal Authority Board, Nancy Fortune, Mayor Pro Tem. Under regional and state agencies, we have the CML, which is the Colorado Municipal League Policy Committee. Denise Howell, City Administrator. Incline Management Committee, Dole Grebnick, City Engineer. The PPACG, which is the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments Board of Directors, is John Graham, Mayor, and the alternate Nancy Fortune, Mayor Pro Tem. The PPRBD, which is Pikes Peak Regional Building Department Advisory Board, is Bob Todd, Counselor. And the PPRTA, which is the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority Board of Directors, is John Graham, Mayor, and alternate Nancy Fortune, Mayor Pro Tem.
Do we entertain a motion here?
A motion to approve resolution number 0620, resolution appointing council members as liaisons to the various boards, commissions, committees, agencies, and organizations as designated.
I'll second that.
Motion second. Any discussion? No discussion. Let's go ahead and vote. Affirmative vote, raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item of business is election of the Mayor Pro Tem and backup Mayor Pro Tem. So we'll start with the Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have any nominations?
Nominate Nancy.
Second?
Second that
Second.
motion.
Motion is second. Discussion?
Thank you for the confidence of the council. Well, that's premature because you haven't voted yet. so.
You're willing to do it?
I'm willing to do it.
Okay, that's important. Any further discussion or comment? Let's go ahead and vote. Affirmative vote, raise your hand. It's unanimous? Okay, well, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Good to get you step forward. Okay, now we need to select a Mayor Pro Tem backup. This is something that began a few years ago. So we will entertain nominations.
Oh, go ahead, Julie.
Well, I was going to nominate John Shada since he's got 8 years' experience on council, and I thought he would do a good job.
Okay, motion.
How about
Other
you?
nominations?
I was going to nominate Susan, actually, just for being on it for the past 2 years.
Oh.
And being very close to what we've been doing the past couple of years. But I guess it would be, are both of them interested, or either of them interested?
She said sure.
I'll second the nomination.
Oh.
So I guess.
Very generous. Okay.
I'll withdraw John's, my nomination of John then, since he wants Susan.
Collaborating already, I love it.
Any
Awesome.
discussion?
So, just a little background on this. This is something that came out through FEMA, just in terms of emergency management, which is probably the only time we would ever utilize it, unless, of course, the two of you were on vacation. But I'm going to be, hoping that we don't have a FEMA type emergency where that needs to happen. But I know that all of you support all of us every day that we do this, and I appreciate your vote of confidence. Thank you.
Any further comments? Let's go ahead and vote. All in favor? Raise your hand. Good. Susan, thank you. Motion passed. All right, future agendas, all I really need to do is mention that what our upcoming schedule looks like. January 14th will be a work session. That's next week. 2 weeks from now, January 21st, will be our first regular session of the new year where we actually do considerable council work. February 4th and 18th will be regular sessions. February 11th will be a work session. We have covered the anticipated agenda here. Appears there's no further business. There is a party, I'm told.
Celebration.
All right. So if there's no further comment, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and we have refreshments at the back. Adjourned.